Have you heard of the DNA repair mechanism? Nobel Prize in Chemistry 2015. It's a great mechanism. As you know, the DNA chain consists of combination of nucleobases. And there is a great mechanism which can discover a bug in the system. Something is wrong with one nucleobase. It gets isolated, and then genetic scissors comes in place and cuts the bug from the system. A new one is replaced, the chain is reconnected, and then the DNA is repaired. It's fantastic, isn't it? Does it remind you on something what we are doing with our software systems, especially when we have a very good automatic test coverage, auto-bug detection? Yes, I know. We haven't reached the auto-bug repair phase, but I believe we are getting there soon. I think the natural world is so inspiring, and that's why we are going to borrow Darwin's eyes and take a look at software development through Darwin's eyes. What are we going to see? Software systems as species, product and organism, customization, variations, customer's choice, natural selection. Reproduction, we are creating releases, major maintenance, hotfix, lot of releases, overproduction of releases. And we struggle for existence on a very tough business market all the time. But what is the blueprint of who we are? What makes us all unique? It's our genetic material. We are all born with a certain set of potential properties. It's genotype. But only some of those properties are exposed. It's phenotype. How can we map that genotype-phenotype concept in software development world? For me, genotype is software architecture, the way how we design and build in all properties and functions in the system. But as you know, not all of them are used, just some of them. What is phenotype? It's in fact the way how users see and use our system. It's in fact user experience. And user experience can differ a lot from the original design. So customers can have huge influence on our product's architecture. Environment has a huge influence on genotype, so the same genotype can result in different phenotypes in different environments. It's called mutation. Viruses are very good at mutation. They're changing their RNA all the time. They're very responsive to changes. There are two major mutations that they do. One is drift. It's small genetic change which accumulates and propagates over time, and shift. It's an abrupt, major change when they change completely all proteins. Does it remind you on something? Small changes propagated during the time in the same direction, and an abrupt major change. I believe that Eric Ries was inspired by virus's mutation when he proposed the lean startup methodology, because drift is nothing else than persevere when you continue developing your product in the same direction, and shift is pivot, when you completely change the direction how you develop your product. Natural selection is the survival of organisms that are best adapted to the environment. But there are always variations within the species. And some advantageous variations. A lone member of the species survive better than the others. It's nothing else than the best market fit. And the art and science is to capture those advantageous variation which can maybe guarantee survival on the tough business market. The presence or absence of gene can fundamentally change the course of evolution, pivot or persevere. Do you have that feature in the product or not? Natural selection acts only taking advantage of slight successive variation. It's nothing else than building minimum viable product and entering a new build, measure, learn loop. Slight successive variations, building MEP, entering a new build, measure, learn loop. The French biologist Lamarck believed that all giraffes had short necks once upon a time. Food leaves were up on the trees, and they were stretching their necks in order to reach the food, leaves on the trees. Every next generation got longer necks, And the final version of giraffes got long necks and they could reach leaves on the trees. Darwin had completely another approach. He said there were giraffes with short necks and giraffes with long necks. Giraffes with the short necks died out directly. They couldn't reach their food, leaves on the trees. We should use Darwin's approach when we build our products. It should create value directly from the first release. You should not deliver something that is not viable and does not create a value and wait for the 5th or 10th release in order to start creating a value. Your product must create value directly from the first release, otherwise it's going to die out as short necks giraffes. Darwin's fitness is the central idea in the whole theory. It describes reproductive success. It's in fact measurement of the created value. And from this graph, we can say that Lamarck's giraffes didn't create any value for a long period of time and start creating at the end, while Darwin's giraffes were creating value from the early beginning. As you could see, there are many similarities between the evolution of the species and software evolution. Are there any differences? Yes. Evolution of the species lasts billions of years. In software development, we have short time to market. And we also have creators. We are creators of our systems. So we can build them in that way to be sustainable, adaptable, and responsive to change. Of course, we cannot predict an unpredictable market. So we should make a shift from predictability and specification to discovery and experimentation, and do exactly what the Mother Nature does. Create variation, select what succeeds, and repeat. And of course, in order to be able to do that experimenting process, environment must be safe to fail. Our companies must understand the concept of fail fast, learn first. Have we solved all our problems? We are going to do experimenting and then we have a safe to fail environment? Unfortunately, not. Nowadays, we are experiencing something that is called digital Darwinism. It's the phenomenon when technology and society evolves faster than business can naturally adapt. And it sets new requirements on a business operational model, organizational structure, and management. So we have changed the way how we do the management in our organizations. And organizations are classified in different types. For example, in a red type organization works as a wolf pack. It has one chief and everybody is following the chief. Amber type focuses on stability. It's like hierarchical pyramid. It's like in military, a strong hierarchical structure. In orange type, focuses on profit and growth. Green type works as a family with a focus on culture and empowerment. And teal organizations have self-management, and they work like living organisms. You have organs which are working independently, and they coordinate in such nice harmony. But wait, is it really like that in the natural world? No. You always have an alpha male in natural world. So who takes the alpha male role in an agile organization? Biologists define an alpha male as a man of value, not a man of success, leads by example, a good storyteller. Does it remind you on something? Can we map this on some role that we have in our agile organizations? Yes, on an agile leader role described by Henrik Knieberg. And he's using, in fact, alpha female version. I really like that. So he says, she holds people accountable for their behavior more than any result. She gets people inspired. She rewards people for learning rather than punishing them for failing. I don't know if I fulfill some of those listed characteristics, but I can at least present myself at the end of my talk. So here is my genotype, eyes colors, blood group. I resulted in the following phenotype. FIS front arena is the environment where I evolve as a development manager, developing electronic trading systems. At home, I live in symbiosis with Gustav Boström at CRISP. He's a very agile and lean guy. I'm agile and lean. So we are raising our 3 offsprings in an agile manner. He's teaching them that well-known lean principle, delay all decisions until the last responsible moment, while I'm teaching them eliminate waste and optimize the whole. And I'm also adaptable to change. So please give your feedback. Thank you.
Tack så mycket Mina, jätteintressant.